"Can I buy you a drink?" a man asked, sidling up to Rebecca on the bar. Her body tensed at hearing his voice. 3 months had passed since Rebecca's mother entered her into the ugly duckling makeover show. She initially refused to participate, but after many nights of convincing, she finally agreed to go on the TV show. The experience was great, and it opened her eyes on how a new haircut, makeup, and fashionable clothing could make a difference. But one thing she couldn't get used to was being the recipient of male attention. "I'm good, thanks," Rebecca said, smiling awkwardly at the man. She turned back to her friend, Jasmine. But then the man unexpectedly grabbed her arm. "Let's dance," he said. She let out a startled yelp and pulled his hand away from her. But his grip only tightened, and he started to lead her toward the dance floor. Her friend came quickly to her aid. "What are you doing?" Jasmine said, her voice rising with alarm. The two of them struggled to free Rebecca just as another man appeared from behind. "Let her go," the stranger said. "Mind your own biz," the man started to say, but his voice trailed off when he noticed the muscular stranger standing a foot away from him. All of a sudden, his bravado vanished. He slowly backed away, his palms raised in the air. "Hey, we're cool, right?" he said. Rebecca's rescuer crossed his arms over his chest, but he didn't have to say anything else since the coward turned on his heels and disappeared into the crowd. "Are you okay?" the stranger asked Rebecca. She rubbed her arm, but when she looked up, her eyes widened with recognition. "You're Thomas," she gasped. He cocked his head to the side in puzzlement. "Do I know you?" he asked. "You do," she said. "I'm Rebecca. We were in Mr. Corey's music class in grade 10. Thomas blinked for a moment, but then he shook his head. "No kidding," he said. "Is it really you, Rebecca?" She nodded, but then she felt self-conscious. Rebecca could tell he was attracted to her, but it felt weird. Throughout high school, she believed that she was ugly and that people were disgusted by her. But since she participated in the makeover show, random people smiled and chatted with her. Some even held the door for her or offered her free meals and drinks. It was now a different world that she navigated. The three of them moved off to the side and continued their conversation. Thomas was pleasant, and she felt at ease in his presence. Even when Jasmine disappeared for a while, Rebecca and Thomas continued talking about their lives after graduation. When she returned home that night, her thoughts were filled with Thomas. He had asked her out, and she naturally accepted his invitation. By the time the date night arrived, she was a nervous wreck. All week she had checked her phone, expecting him to cancel on her. However, he arrived on time and took her to a nice restaurant in town. Thomas, for his part, was the perfect gentleman. 2 months passed, and their relationship was still going strong. She decided to visit the mall and find a gift to celebrate their time together. As she entered one of the stores, her heart jumped. There was the girl who tormented her in high school. Obviously, Annie was older now, but there was no mistaking her identity. In an instant, Rebecca recalled her last encounter with her tormentor. Like every other time after gym class, she hurried to get dressed and leave the change room as fast as she could. No one had to remind her that she was 30 pounds overweight and had zits all over her face. She was just about to make her exit when Annie appeared. "Move, you ugly slob," she said, shoving Rebecca. The others in the room snickered as she tumbled to the ground. Suddenly, the woman began walking toward Rebecca, and she snapped back to reality. A million thoughts zipped through her mind, but Annie just smiled and walked past her. The near encounter left Rebecca unsettled, and she found a place to sit. A few minutes later, she felt more composed, and she started to resume her shopping. Just then she caught sight of Thomas's familiar figure in the mall's lower level. A streak of pleasure shot through her. She started to go to him, but stopped when a gorgeous blonde appeared and embraced him. It was as if a bucket of ice poured over her head. Thomas was happy to see the woman. Was she his new lover? Maybe she had deluded herself, and Thomas wasn't the man she thought he was. He probably toyed with her and didn't even care about her. Did it even make sense that a good-looking man like him would be satisfied with someone like Rebecca? She pulled her phone out of her purse and texted him. "I don't think our relationship can work. Sorry." And before she changed her mind, she pressed send. A week went by, and the texts and messages from Thomas stopped, and Rebecca was miserable. One day, Jasmine showed up unannounced and declared that Rebecca couldn't back out of the class reunion. Jasmine spoke about the event and enthusiastically listed everyone who RSVP'd. But Rebecca groaned when she saw her friend pull out a yearbook from her bag. "The vast majority of people in there are ugly, and I lead the pack," she said. "Wow, you really think that?" her friend asked. "That's pretty judgmental." Rebecca had laughed off the observation, but the idea bothered her even after her friend had left. She realized that she usually judged herself and others harshly. But was her judgment off? And if her views were so skewed, she wondered if this somehow contributed to her false beliefs about herself and others. She also wondered if she had misjudged Thomas. Maybe there was another reason behind his meeting at the mall. She decided to reach out to him, but he ignored her calls. His silence only confirmed that she had wronged him. In hindsight, she had a great thing with Thomas, yet she had carelessly thrown it away and probably hurt him in the process. She felt terrible about this, and she had to make things right again. On the night of the reunion, she received the okay from Jasmine, and she walked onto the stage. For the first time since the makeover show, she wasn't wearing any makeup or fancy clothes. She had also prepared a speech. She knew Thomas was in the crowd, and she poured her heart out, describing her terrible mistake in letting him go. She was intent on delivering her message and didn't care about what people thought of her. After her speech was over, Rebecca felt relieved yet sad. "Did you really mean what you said up there?" a deep voice said. She turned her head and saw that it was Thomas. Her smile faltered when she noticed the blonde woman at his side. "I did," Rebecca said, forcing the smile to stay on her lips. "I was wrong about you, and I was wrong about myself. I'm really sorry about what happened." "Tell me, was this the woman you saw at the mall, the one you mentioned on stage?" he asked, drawing the blonde forward. The question put Rebecca on the spot, but she needed to be truthful. "It doesn't matter anymore," she said. "I just want you to be happy." "This is my sister Janine," he said, interrupting her. Her mouth dropped open. "What?" Janine gave her a friendly smile and said, "I should probably make myself scarce now." "I didn't know she was your sister," Rebecca said, shaking her head in disbelief. She watched his sister leave, but she turned to look at him. "Will you accept my apology?" she said nervously. "And if so, maybe we can be friends?" He returned her gaze, and his expression started to soften. "I'll accept your apology, but I want us to be more than friends." He took a step closer and caressed her cheek. "Do you think we can do that?" "Yes," she said. "I think so too," he said. He bent his head, and they shared a long kiss. What did you guys think of the story? Please comment in the comment section below. I can't wait to read your answers and discussions. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest stories to warm your heart. Until next time, bye.